Loud. And then I am going to spotlight my good friend Marty Miller here. Thank you for
Spotlighted,
joining.
man.
Was
I
that?
know I hit the big now when I get spotlighted on a Zoom call with John Morris. That's
All
exciting.
right. Well, I'm really excited that you're here today with us. I got a couple other people to let into the room. This is, Marty, you haven't been on one of these before. So basically, who you're dealing with right now, this is our ownership group has three sister offices, Palos Verdes Market Center, which is the one that I'm in. And then we also have our South Bay Market Center, which is in Torrance. And then we have our Long Beach Coastal, which is in Long Beach. So about 1,000 agents combined amongst all three market centers. And a cool thing that we do every morning is Monday through Thursday, we do morning mindset, which one of the leaders of the market center will kind of lead a mindset talk to you about joining for. That's where
John, sorry, you're freezing up there.
so that I make sure that hopefully that causes less problems with that. Is that a little bit better, Daniel?
Yeah, I can get you
Uh-huh.
now. Yeah, you froze there for a second, but looks like you're back.
Okay, cool. I'm going to close my web browser too. It seems like I'm having problems with Zoom with the storage. So basically, on Fridays, we interview top agents or leaders and just discuss what you're doing in the field, what you see top agents doing in the field right now to help them be more successful and navigate this market. I thought, who better to come on than somebody who's done a lot of things at a high level? I mean, I know you. We've been friends for a long time now, and I know that your backstory. Not maybe not all of these people do, but productivity coach. One of the original founding RTTs for our organization, maps coach, YouTube celebrity, and now most recently OP. So you've seen lots. You've talked to lots of top agents around the world. You've talked to lots of top leaders around the world. So I thought you would be a perfect person to tell our agents what they should be, how a top producer thinks, and what a top producer is doing right now to be successful.
Yeah, well, I definitely appreciate that. Yeah, so Marty Miller, I'm from Katy, Texas, right outside of Houston, just west of Houston. John gave a pretty good bio there. Before becoming a PC, I was actually in production for roughly 5 years. Worked on a top 15 team here in Houston in the Katy market, CTIM Cell. I started off as a buyer's agent. Quickly learned that I don't work well with buyers. If you don't like the paint color, I can give you $100. We can change that. Let's buy this house. That didn't work well with most buyers. So quickly moved on to a listing agent, became the VP of expansion, VP of sales, and then president of that team when my rainmaker stepped into commercial. During that time, that 4.5 years, closed roughly 276 transactions. Had the opportunity to get heavily involved in the production side, then wanted to get involved in leadership. So like John said, was a productivity coach for Karina and Lance Loken at their market center here in Houston. And then the region came calling with a small position that no one really knew about. Regional tech trainer, did that for 5 years. And then just recently, full circle moment, got to come back, and I'm now the operating principal for the market center where I started at 11 years ago. And my business partner and boss, the owner, is actually my sponsor. So pretty cool story. Got to come back home and now running the Keller Williams Premier office in Katy, Texas. But yeah, one
Love
of the things
that.
I was thinking about today, John, when we kind of started the conversation, a lot of people, it's interesting if you think about it, what's going to change, what's going to be different. And I thought about an interview I saw a long time ago of Jeff Bezos, right? Amazon. He was at a future retailers conference, and they were asking Jeff on stage, what's going to be the future of retail? What's going to change? What's the newest thing? What's the hottest thing? And he looked at the journalist and he said, I can't tell you how many times someone has asked me that question, right? What's going to change about retail in the future? He said, the question journalists rarely, if ever, ask me is what's going to remain the same? And he said, in retail, I don't imagine that anyone's ever going to say, we'd like less choices, please, Jeff. We would like to only have two things to choose from instead of 200 things to choose from. And so when we built Amazon, we focused in on number one, having the widest product selection available possible for our agents. We didn't think that consumers would ever come to us and say, Jeff, we'd like to pay more, please. And so we focused on having the highest quality product at the lowest price possible with the greatest selection. And the third thing we thought about is that no one's ever going to say, hey, Jeff, could you slow down on delivery, please? We'd like to get that 2 weeks from now instead of 2 days from now or tomorrow. And so we focused in on at Amazon of making sure that we had the quickest possible delivery time available. And you guys know that, like, I can order paper towels right now and have them on my doorstep by 4 a.m. tomorrow. So when I thought about, what's the future of real estate in, 2025 and beyond, a lot of times is what's going to change, but what's going to stay the same in your business as far as top real estate agents in California? And I think that's the things we really need to focus on this year, because there are a lot of things that are changing, let's be real. And yet the things that won't change is people are never going to say, hey, I'd like to be communicated with less. I'd like to make less money in more time, right? We know our clients want to make the most possible amount of money in the shortest amount of time. They want to be communicated well with during that entire process. The thing that has me, I'm not necessarily concerned because I think we all kind of saw the writing on the wall and this coming, but the TCPA changes, those are really important, right? If you're not paying attention to those, the one-on-one business relationship, the requirement to renew that relationship on an ongoing basis, right? I think the best practice is every 60 days, right? If you don't have a business relationship with that person, you be very, very careful, if not texting them at all, right? As far as what that looks like. So, there's a lot of, I don't know what the relationships are in California. I know California has a few more guidelines than other states, but when it comes to, lenders or, different business partners that are providing marketing dollars to top agents, I've seen that be a big thing, right? Especially, I know in our market center, we have several agents that have partnerships with lenders that help with buying leads, right? So whether that's through Boomtown or Brivity or Zillow or, you name your lead flavor of choice, that's becoming a real challenge because those leads we know oftentimes are not well vetted. They're not one-on-one. They're being sold to multiple agents, right? And so now when we get into this whole TCPA guidelines and what's going to be happening in the future, we have a lot of teams that are shifting away from that. And the biggest thing that I've seen those teams doing is that they're shifting those marketing dollars from purchasing leads to hosting events. They realize that they have enough leads, they have enough clients, they have enough contacts. I can't, it's probably Tony DeCello or someone else equally famous in our, KW world that said, you don't have a lead generation problem, you have a lead conversion problem. Right. And so that's what they're really focusing on is, hey, we have enough people in our database. We just don't do a good enough job of communicating with them regularly and making them feel special. So let's stop buying leads, right? What's 100 more people that we're not going to communicate well with or take good care of? And let's pour that money more into events that we can start doing. And whether those are micro events, 10, 15 people to a high-end steakhouse for a wine tasting, or macro events where, I've got a client that's doing, what's the new kids movie that just came out? I can't remember the name of the movie.
I don't know. My kids are all old now, so I'm not familiar with a lot of what the
Yeah,
kids stuff
yeah.
that's
I
out
should
there
know. I've got
either.
4 of them, but I can't
You,
remember.
you're
We
you're
don't
in
get a
that
lot of
boat.
time
You
to do
should know
movies in the
that.
old in the old Miller household. There's not a lot of movie watching. My twins are actually dancing right now this whole weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. They're at a dance competition. So that's why the backdrop looks a little different. I'm actually working from the house and I'll have the 2 in the
Nice.
boys shortly. So but yeah, those were the biggest things that I think, come into play. I was shared a video and I'm going to post it in the chat because spoiler alert, it's a long watch. It's 45 minutes. And if you guys know anything about me and YouTube videos, I usually tune out after about 8 minutes. That's the reason why the majority of my videos are so short, because transparently, I've got a really short attention span, guys. But
I
this was
think most real estate professionals do,
yeah,
right?
best thing about YouTube, yeah, speed it up to 2x. So this is a video it's from Lab Code Agents, and most of y'all are familiar with that group. Tristan Ahumada, Ahumada. I'm probably saying that wrong. Y'all probably know him better than I do. But
Ahumada is how you say it.
there you go. Thank you, sir. But going through some of the biggest updates with the TCPA rule changes, right? We are now 10 days away from those going into effect. and they're going to have some pretty big impacts, right? So thought it was a really good watch. That's why I'm sharing it there with you. You know, opt-in marketing is going to be the way of the future. You know what I mean? The whole just we're going to buy the phone book and then start cold calling through. So top agents oftentimes may have dialing systems. I might take a real hard look at that, right? Oftentimes top agents may have ISAs, whether those are international or national based. I might take a real hard look at that, right? And what are our policies around those types of calls that are being made, to whom, do we have permission? You know, the number one thing I would look at is if anything ever happened, right? If I got hit with a suit, do I have anything in writing, right? Whether that's digitally or, you know, paper or format or whatever that looks like, that gave me permission to have those conversations, right? John knows well, and I'm sure he shared with you, the one of the things that I really like about Command right now is the open house sign-in pages, right? And I think that's one of the other things that I've seen a lot of top agents sort of leaning back into is open houses. Sitzer Burnett kind of threw us a curveball, and I think, you know, I think the thing that we were most fearful of was the downward compression of commissions, right? We all felt like, oh man, we're not going to be able to make the numbers that we typically make, and we're not going to reference any numbers, but you all know the number that you make, and I think we're all a little fearful that we would make less. I will say that several market centers that I coach, I've been, you know, kind of walk through the process of saying, hey, what was that, you know, GCI to commission number percentage, right? We have that inside of our market center multi-year trend reports. What was that number for your market center 6 months ago, 12 months ago, and then what was it in December? And without fail, every market center that I've instructed to go through that has seen such a minor change in that number that it's minuscule, right? So, you know, whether that's going from X to X point two, you know what I mean? Like, not a big impact. But what I have seen is that I believe a lot of buyers are still a little hesitant to sign agreements, especially since we're asking them to do so early on in the process. We should have been doing that all along. I think transparently, maybe we weren't. But when I'm supposed to, you know, it's sort of like asking for a prenup on the first date. So a lot of buyers are getting a little weary of having to sign those documents when they're only seeing one house. And so open houses is a way for those buyers to go view properties without signing paperwork. And so a lot of the agents that I know that are leaning back into open houses are seeing an uptick of buyers that are coming through without agency, right? They're showing up because they weren't willing to sign paperwork with someone, but they wanted to see the house. And so it's a great opportunity as a listing agent or, you know, an agent showing an open house for someone else to pick up some additional buyers. And going back to Command, if you have Command create that open house sign-in page, there are multiple checkboxes on that sign-in page, right? Someone walks into my open house, I hand them that tablet, that laptop, whatever I've got set up. Even you could even do it on your phone if you needed to, right? And they're going to go through and put in their information and check those boxes. And those boxes clearly establish a business relationship between you and that individual. And that way, any communication that you have, at least over the next 60 days, you have that permission to have that communication. So I think that's really important.
Yeah, Marty, I think one of the things that's good too, besides the open house thing, is if you do want to generate online leads, that's one of the cool things about Command is that using that Facebook capture page inside of the ads also basically gives you permission or opt-in permission to contact those people as well too. So if you haven't utilized the and you want internet leads, Command's a good option to help you stay compliant.
Yeah, and I think if Command isn't your CRM flavor of choice and you are buying leads, I would just have some real serious conversations with those aggregators in the event of saying, hey, you know, and I've already seen it. Like we all get the emails, right? I've already started getting emails from some of those top CRM saying one-on-one approved, you know, like guaranteed and all the things because they quickly realized, oh crap, right? Like our agents are going to stop buying leads from us if we can't guarantee. I I don't know what the guarantee looks like. I don't know what those, I don't use those CRMs, so I don't know what they're going to do. Um, but I would imagine that cost per lead is probably going to go up with many of those aggregators, right? And the volume is probably going to go down. I think if we believe that those leads weren't being sold across multiple platforms and multiple agents, we're all kind of kidding ourselves. So if they are going to truly guarantee that you are the only person and that they have consented to work directly with you, you know, then they can't work with John and Gary and Daniel and Monica and Linda, right? They can only work with me if they're telling the truth. So therefore, it's going to be fewer leads and a higher cost per lead. So just some things to think about as far as that goes when you look at how is TCPA going to affect. We were on a top OP mastermind yesterday with Gary and Jason and Mark. And, Gary believes as far as 2025 goes, we're still going to be in that 4.2, $4.3 million homes sold. So a small uptick. The best part about having Gary Keller as our leader is that he's been doing this for quite a while. This is, downturn number 5.
Yeah.
He showed the historical graphs that we've all seen at Mega Camp and Family Reunion, and typically 3 to 4 year cycles, and we're kind of 2.5 in. So is 2025 going to be a massive bounce back? Probably not. Will it be any worse? Probably not, right? So if you're still here today, that means you made it through 2024. If you keep doing what you're doing, right, watching your expenses, we all know the, am I red light, green light, and all those kind of things, and really diving into, in my personal opinion, going back to that one-on-one relationship building, smaller clientele, but more powerful relationships, then you start to get those referrals, right? You get the past client repeat business, those types of things. I really believe, and then open houses, you know what I mean? I think you look at the lead levers and you start to think about which ones are going to have the greatest risk with regards to call, text, email, and which ones are not. And I think it's going to be that sphere-based and open house lead sources. If you're not leaning into those, you may consider doing that.
Yeah, I agree with you on the conversion part of it. I know there's very few people I talk to that when I ask them how many people are in their phone, equates to the number of sheer people they already know, doesn't equate out to the number of transactions that they do. And it always reminds me of a MAPS client that I had that I was coaching, that her name was Karina from Santa Fe. And she annually closed 100 transactions, and she didn't lead generate. She had 600 people in her database, and she said that she just loved on her 600 people. And that's what I was coaching her on, is because she wanted to do more than 100 transactions. And I was like, you don't know enough people. But I think there would be probably a majority of people on this call that would like, if they could get a fraction of what of closings based on the people they know of what Karina does, they'd be happy, right? So the conversion issue is very real. So how do we fix that?
I think sometimes we overthink what we need to be saying, what we need to be asking. You know what I mean? We have that, fear of, okay, it's not necessarily with lead generation. A lot of times people know who to call. They just don't know what to say, right? Newer agents oftentimes don't have enough people to call, but right, this is the top agent mastermind. You guys have enough people to call. I think oftentimes we try to overcomplicate what we're going to say. I need to research mortgage rates. I need to research the housing industry. I need to research all these different things so I can, pontificate and spew forth all the statistics and, get my, my ball out to predict the future. I get the opportunity to coach with Brian Martin and Matt Teeter in my cadre with MAPS. And, Brian and Matt, they're simple texts that they're working with their agents on, and I'm ripping it off of mine. It's just, what are your real estate plans for 2025? Hey, Daniel, I'm curious. What are your real estate plans for 2025? And then shut up. You know what I mean? Like that, it's that simple. And especially if you already have that relationship with them, right? How many people are in your phone that you would have a relationship with that you wouldn't have to worry about a TCPA, suit? Great. Send that text, even if you're doing 20 per day. I mean, how hard is it to get onto your phone and send 20 texts out? We've got all the systems in place. You could do DTD2, you could just go from A to Z. You could, I don't know, play roulette on your phone and just go into the contact and scroll, whatever you want to do. We can all figure out the system. But oftentimes it's just a simple question. Hey, John, I'm curious, what are your real estate plans for 2025? And then just allow them to say whatever it is. Hey, we don't have any plans. This is what we're thinking. Why do you ask? And then that starts the conversation. It's not a yes, no, right? It's an open-ended question. So they can't say no, because that's an awkward answer to what are your plans? No, right? It's not going to happen. So they're going to give you something.
Yeah. What?
Do you have plans in real estate for 2025? That's an easy no. right? But that's why it's structured as what are your plans? What are your real estate plans for 2025? And then, getting into whether that's a conversation about buying or selling, ideally, that would be great. But it could be, hey, we're looking at refis, we're going to stay put. Okay, great, fantastic. How much longer do you think you'll be living in that house before you would make a move? Oh, well, interest rates this, interest rates that, and we're going to have a lot of conversations about that. We're sure. Great. It's a great opportunity to ask them what their current rate is. Is there an opportunity to refi, right? How long we're waiting for rates to come down. And my favorite response is to what? Right? Well, we're waiting for the rates to come down. Okay, great. To what? Well, if they can get down to 3 again. Okay. Well, if they get down to 3 again, say some prayers because we're back into a national or global pandemic. That's the only reason why. Let's just be real blunt that we ever got down into 2s and 3s. And a lot of people paid the ultimate price for us to get there. So let's pray that we never get back to that number again. So having that realistic conversation with people that, let's look at that historical average. Let's look at where we are now, and again, it's one of those uphill both ways in the snow. Well, back in my day, my first purchase was 17.5%. I don't know how well that goes ideally with most people. And yet I do think when you show them the historical average, and when you explain to them why we never want to get back down to the 2s and 3s again, then I think people start to have some realization about, okay, well, what price point are you looking to purchase at? What would your, monthly note have to be? Then you start having some of those conversations because they may not have any idea what their buying power is at 7%. They just know
well, I think there's some other combos that can happen out of there too, right? I was listening to an agent that I know in DC. And one of the things that he does too is because even if I say, Marty, how has your real estate plans? At the end of the day, you could say, I'm in my dream house, man. I'm never moving. Cool. Well, have you thought about, acquiring investment properties to build your passive income so you can retire? So, I mean, I love what you said with that because there's so many ways that you can navigate or dovetail. It's just getting them into the conversation.
Absolutely. Yeah, and it's sometimes, just being the source of information and being, fantastic. That dream house, does it have a pool yet? Oh no, we've thought about doing one, but we're just not quite there yet. Great. Okay. So are there some, cash out refi options? Are there some, HELOC options that I could help connect you with? Just, what does Jay always say? He's, it's because we're in real estate all the time, we believe that everybody knows what we do. It's the curse of knowledge, right? We believe that everybody what HELOC means, right? Like, go ask the average consumer what the abbreviation HELOC stands for, and they're going to be like, I have no idea what you're talking about right now. Okay, great. So if I can be the resource to connect you with someone who could help you get that money for the pool today, right? And then you would just pay the note off a little bit longer, whatever that looks like. People want options. And right now they believe they have to save up that $80,000 to $100,000. I don't know. In California, it might be $150,000 for a pool, right? But figuring out what that number is, they don't know all of the options. Even if they're not looking to buy or sell, right? Hey, is the kitchen the perfect kitchen? No, man, we need to remodel this thing. It's from the 20s. Fantastic. I know a great contractor, right? I know a great, painter. I know a great carpenter. I know someone that can help you with that. If you become the resource, no matter what the need is, then when the need does become buying and selling, they're going to come back to you.
Yeah, I think it circles back to what you were saying about being, providing value and being valuable to people, right? Jason Abrams said one time to a group of agents that I was with, anybody can help somebody buy or sell real estate. I don't help people buy or sell real estate. I help people live beautifully in the homes that they buy. And I think having that mindset, kind of like what you're talking about, is, hey, yeah, sure, I'm going to help you buy this house, or sure, I'm going to help you sell this house. But ultimately, I'm here to help you live the life in the house that you buy, that you want to buy, right? And that's exactly what you're describing there.
Yeah, I think it's the highest number of quality touches that you can provide an individual, right? That's where you're really going to find that level of success. Let's do it. Let's do a quick exercise. You guys are, I'm sure you're all paying attention, but I can only see Daniel on the screen. So everyone's got their cameras off, and I appreciate
Daniel's
that.
Always on the screen, but I
appreciate that, Daniel.
Well, a lot of people are tuning in, so.
Yeah. So in the chat, right? Hopefully everyone can access the chat. Let's do a quick exercise, right? And this will be interesting because I have a theory about where this is going to go, and it may be a little bit different than where it is in Texas, but we're going to do it anyway. So in the chat, clear your mind. I want you to type in the first thing you think of when I say the next phrase. Don't overthink it. Just type in what you think of. Ready? Fast food hamburger. So it totally went the way that I thought it was going to go. And I love you guys because you have In-N-Out like on every corner. Here in Texas, it's McDonald's on every corner, right? We don't have a lot of In-N-Out. We have one and the line is long. I'm still
Yeah,
questioning.
I remember when you got
right?
it, because I remember having a conversation about you saying, "What the heck is this? Like, why? There's like a whole traffic jam that has been
Oh, it
started
goes
in my
out onto
neighborhood."
the street, y'all. It's a drive-through that wraps all the way around the building, and it still goes out on the street. And for like 3 weeks, I just avoided that entire area because it just, I mean, the whole thing, right? So, but let's just go with In-N-Out, right? Is it In-N-Out? Is it fast food? Yeah, I agree, Bob. Is it the best hamburger you've ever had? Right? Is it the cheapest hamburger you've ever had? Is it the highest quality, most nutritious hamburger you've ever had? And my guess is you're probably saying no to all of those answers, right? Then why, when I say fast food hamburger, do you think In-N-Out? It's because you can't go anywhere in your market without seeing In-N-Out. All right, let's do one more. All right, so clear your mind. I want you to think of the first thing that comes to your mind when I say the next one. Ready? Running shoe. Running shoe. All right, so Chance and Frida, I'm sorry if I'm saying that wrong, and Amanda are runners. Gideon's
So
probably a
Sherelle,
runner. Yeah, the rest of you guys are not. And the reason I know you're not is because you said Nike. Now, don't feel bad because Nike is the #1 response that I get every single time, right? Why Nike? Why did the rest of you not say Brooks or Hoka's or some of those other high-end running shoes, right? It's because Nike is there everywhere. Guys, Nike is a basketball shoe, but why did we think of it when it said running shoe, right? Because Nike is everywhere you look. One of my favorite quotes from real estate, and it comes from Dave Jenks, God rest his soul, it's in MREA, and it says, "My success in real estate is in direct proportion to the number of people when they think about real estate, they think about me." All right, so I'll say it again. His quote was, "My success in real estate is in direct proportion to the number of people when they think about real estate, they think about me." Right? So do you have to be the absolute best realtor ever? McDonald's isn't the best hamburger you've ever had, and In-N-Out isn't the best hamburger you've ever had, but you've said it, right? Nike is not the best running shoe, but you said it, right? So if you look at 2025, what are the touches that I need to make sure are going out to my database such that when anyone says, "Do you know a good realtor?" that person in my database will say, "Absolutely. His name is John Morris. You got to call him today." Right? So the high quality touches, the personal events, the getting away from the, kind of random lead purchase and the aggregators and just going all in. Remember, none of you have a lead problem, right? Many of us, myself included, have a lead conversion problem. And so how can I make sure that in 2025, I get more high quality touches to the individuals who are already in my database to make sure that when they think of real estate or anyone around them thinks about real estate, they think of me. That's when I'm going to get that business, that referral business, all those types of things.
love it.
John, it's been a pleasure, sir. I hope you guys stay warm.
Absolutely.
Pray for Houston, y'all. We're getting in the 20s next week, so that's not Houston weather. So
No.
we're wrapping the pipes and the plants tonight. It'll be an interesting week, but I'll look forward to seeing hopefully many of you in Vegas. John, take care. Thanks for having me on,
All
sir.
right. Thanks, Marty. Really appreciate you, my friend.
All right, y'all take care, guys.
Thank you, guys.